The next book that I read in January. Abhi bhi January mein chal raha hai apan. Very nice. The second book that I read in... Next up is a book that I read for a... So if you're looking for... What? What are you screaming? I have no idea, man. I have no idea what happens to people. भूत चढ़ जाता है क्या सब में? So what Felix does is he comes ups. So Felix comes up. So that's why it's difficult. Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I'm here today with my February 2021 wrap-up, and I originally thought that I'd do this video in two parts because I read 14 books in February. It was and still is surprising that I managed to read so many books, but then again, one of them was a DNF, and then quite a few of them are very fast-paced reads, so it's technically no surprise in the end. But I asked you all on Instagram, what should I do? Should I put it in one part or two parts, because I was not able to decide, but a majority of the people said one part, so here we are. But whatever it is, February was a great reading month for me. I had some amazing reads. I've got some favorite books in this list in today's video, which I'll be talking about, that I read in February, and I am really happy, not because I read 14 books, but because I found some favorites. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me share with you all the books that I read in February 2021. Before I get on with this video, I'd just like to remind you that if you'd like to buy any of the books mentioned in this video, then please use my Amazon affiliate links in the description box below to buy the books. It will be of immense help to me. The first book that I read in February was a favorite which made me cry, which wrecked me, and along with its sequel, it sort of just finished me, okay? And the book is A Reaper at the Gates. But since I'm anyway not going to be able to talk about what happens in this book, I will also add the sequel to this. I'm particularly saying this because this was not the second book that I read. Does that make sense? These two books, A Reaper at the Gates and A Sky Beyond the Storm. A full vlog for this also went up on my channel. It's already live. If you'd like to go check that out, I leave the link here as well as in the description box below. These two books, I was not okay. I am still not okay. The very memory of these books, the way I cried, like ugly cried, it comes from your gut, that cry. And I will go through it all over again without a doubt. That's how much the series has come to mean to me and how much I love the series now. But these are so amazingly written. Sabatayr has rounded out everything so well with Sky Beyond the Storm that I was sad that the series is over, but I also felt a little satisfied, but I'm also a little salty about certain details that happen in there. All I'll say is go read these books. Go. But yeah, full 5 out of 5 stars to both of these books. Next up is a book that I was part of a blog tour for, and that book is How to Build a Heart by Maria Parian. How to Build a Heart is a story of Izzy Crawford, who is Latin American. Her mother is Puerto Rican and her father, a Marine, is now no more. He was an American, and now Izzy has moved from town to town, not finding roots anywhere, and now all she wants is a home. She's now on scholarship at a school in the area that they are now living in, and there are a lot many secrets that happen as a result of this or as a consequence of this, and now Izzy has to make sure that whatever is happening, it doesn't come back to bite her in the ass. So now the question is, will Izzy emerge stronger from this? And will she find a home? And will she be able to build a home with a heart? Will she find her roots? It forms the entire story. I really had fun reading this book because it is so fast paced and there is oodles of smart whip-like dialogue that you just chuckle at. That camaraderie between Izzy and her friend, Izzy and her mom also to a certain extent, and to the people around her, how Izzy goes about making friends. And then at some points you're like, oh no, Izzy, don't do it. But no, these main characters, they don't listen to us. I really liked that romance is not the center stage of this book. There are a lot more facets to love than just romance. So this book focuses on friendship, but her thoughts about it, how she treats it, how she gets treated by it, it's really well written, it's well rounded off. My only concern with this book is that Izzy and Ross's best friendship seems a little contrived, because nobody does that to a best friend. I would definitely recommend this book to people who are fans of YA literature, because it's such a fun read while dealing with things that teens go through, because teens sometimes do stupid things and they're allowed to do that because it's at that point in life where they're discovering themselves. So it's all well and good. I gave How to Build a Heart 4 out of 5 stars. My next read for February was Punching the Air by Ibi Zoboi and Yusuf Salam. Oh my god. This is the story of Amal Shahid, who is an artist and a poet. He goes to a diverse art school, but the system there is so biased that he sort of becomes disruptive. But then an altercation happens and he is wrongfully arrested and convicted of a crime that he did not commit. And how he turns to his words and his art while in prison to draw strength from it and to quell the rage that he is feeling at being wrongfully convicted forms the entire story. And this is a novel written in verse, and this is so powerful. I was left reeling when I finished it. I was actually reading the Ember Quartet and I wanted a sort of a shift in pace, so I picked this up. And oh my god, even though this you can finish this in like 4 or 5 hours, you are not going to be able to emerge from the story for a long time. And this book talks about racism and discrimination and strength and love in the form of art and expression, and in the way that Amal uses that art to find some strength. It takes some time for him to find that strength, but he does, and it's such a beautifully written book. The poetry is simply stunning. There's so much that you begin to think of as you read this book that it's not easy to just flip through it and just end the book and say ki I finished reading a book. That's not gonna happen. This is going to stay with you for a long time. Yusuf Salam was one of the 5 black people wrongfully arrested and convicted for aggravated assault and rape of a white woman in 1989, and it was only years later that he was released. And to see Yusuf Salam drawing from his experience and putting that pain into this book, and it's a whole other experience. I feel so bad and I feel so angry on his behalf and on behalf of every single person who has been wrongfully convicted so far. I gave this book a full 5 out of 5 stars. There's no question of any other rating for this book. The 4th book that I read in February was Sky Beyond the Storm, but I've already spoken about it. So now on to the 5th book. The 5th book is Herding Cats by Sarah Anderson. This is the 3rd in her Sarah Scribble series, and it's a series of comics. It not only talks about our little problems in life, but it also handles them in a very humorous way. And I love that about Sarah Anderson's comics because of how relatable they are. I find myself in them, especially when she talks about introverts, when she talks about bookworms, and this whole thing, I feel like she's drawing me, because everything that she draws, I feel like it's happened to me. And towards the end of her collection, she always does this little thing like interview kind of thing, not technically interview, but she puts up a comic and then she talks about certain things that she wants to address, and I really loved that as well, and Herding Cats was no exception. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. My next read for February was Felix Ever After by Cason Calendar. This is a story of Felix's love. Felix is proud of his identity and who he is right now, but an anonymous student dead names him and posts pics of him before his transformation in the school gallery, and it almost breaks Felix. So Felix comes up with a plan for revenge, and he jumps into this whole catfish scenario where he is pretending to be someone else to pull details out of the person that he thinks did this. But what Felix didn't expect was to be pushed headfirst into a love triangle that is a love triangle but is also not a love triangle. So he has to figure out where he is in this whole scenario, what exactly is happening in his life, and if he will finally fall in love. And I really loved reading this book because of how open it is about discussions on gender and sexuality and gender identity and so much more that the author has packed into this. Sure, there's sometimes what happens is they're just going off on a monologue. Like, it's like the author wrote an essay and then decided that they were going to copy paste it into a dialogue. But the knowledge that it gave out, that I was a huge fan of, and I think that Cason Calendar has done a phenomenal job of putting that into this book of acceptance, of being accepting of other people, of being accepting especially of queer people, and I love it. I can safely say that this is a book that will give you that knowledge, but also if you are struggling to accept yourself, if you're struggling to see yourself as what you want to see yourself as, and you're struggling to do that, you will realize throughout the book that it is okay to doubt. I gave Felix Ever After 4 out of 5 stars. My next read for February was Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book, this novella, it is in an epistolary format. It's told in form of letters, and a woman has written a letter to a man saying that she has found evidence of her husband cheating on her with his wife, and how their correspondence goes and how their equation changes. Like, it's like so typically Taylor Jenkins Reid, because you will not expect what's about to come at you at that end, because it is, I mean, it makes complete sense as well, but it's also like, okay, should I be accepting of this or should I not be accepting of this? Is this whole thing fair enough? I mean, it is fair enough in a hugest sense possible, but you have questions, but then you are also left feeling very satisfied. That's what Taylor Jenkins Reid does to you. I gave Evidence of the Affair 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is The Truth Pixie by Matt Haig. This is a children's book, and this talks about the truth pixie who can only tell the truth. She cannot tell anything else, and that sort of makes her not love herself, and she gets very annoyed in certain situations that people are always leaving because she's always telling the truth, and she becomes grumpy and all of this, and how she learns to love herself and learns that the truth will actually many a times set you free forms this entire story. And this is so childishly rhyming, this whole book, but that is exactly what forms the fun part of this whole book, and I love that. I love how easy, how simple this book is, but it also doles out so much wisdom. We need to read children's books. That is where you get your lessons, your morals, your values. You will learn a lot from them, and this is one book that I would definitely recommend. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is Men Without Women by Haruki Murakami, and this is a book that I was super excited to read. Okay, I am a huge fan of how Haruki Murakami makes all of his works so absurd, and he is the only author from whom I will take anything. Like, you tell me anything and I will say, that probably makes sense, so I will accept it. That's the way it goes. But even though I do love his writing so much, a couple of stories in this book, which is a collection of short stories, sort of made me very annoyed because of how they ended, because there was no clarity. But then again, that's the beauty of Murakami stories, because he leaves a lot to interpretation, and many times what he's trying to do or say is not really clear for us to see. It's only in hindsight that you realize that Haruki Murakami is actually saying this, that he is giving you a lesson to take away, and that is what I love about his writing. And even though some of the stories were a little vague, I was like, okay, I understand where he's going with this. His stories are deep, layered, metaphorical, and completely cracked in a lot of places. And there's one thing that I noticed that I would like to mention, that he talks a lot about sex. I feel like his treatment of the characters in these stories, it sort of gives the idea that the characters are very casual about sex, but they're also very dismissive of the people who they have sex with. But otherwise, I really liked reading this. I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is a book that I was really excited to read. It is part of the 21 books that I want to read in 2021 list, and that is The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga, and I don't know what to think about this. This is the story of Balram Halwai, who is now writing to the Chinese premiere, and I don't even know, that feels like it's an unnecessary plot device that the author has put in there. And he's talking about his family, his father, his brother, how he becomes a driver, what all he does, how he works for a rich family, and the class divide is there, and that depiction is brilliant, I feel like. But there was otherwise no point, I feel. I see the greater point, but as you're reading it, it's like, where is he going with this? Why is this so easy to read but also very tough to read, because you don't know what he's trying to say? Why he's telling me, like, he is literally worshipping the people who he works for, but on the next breath he is like, I know you can have that kind of a relationship with people, but still, this book was basically written to scoff at the idea of India, I feel like. I know it uproots the issues that are there of classism, but it is said in such a dismissive manner. You don't understand for a majority of this book what is happening, because even though the language is clear, like I've already mentioned before, it's very muddled. And that is what is most annoying about this book. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. Oh, what a disappointment, man. Next up is How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones, and this is a memoir, Saeed Jones's memoir, and he talks about how it was growing up in the South, I think, and about how he discovered his own identity, how he became more open, how it took him a change of place to become more open, and his relationship with his family, with his mother, and how sometimes family can be understanding in a lot of ways, but they can also be a little rigid in a lot of other ways. And this was a very fast read. Like, I finished it in like 4-5 hours, I think, but those 4-5 hours you will be immersed in the story that Saeed Jones is telling you, his own life story, and you will really be taken back to what he is talking about. You will put yourself in his place, and you will see the effort it takes to stay that strong. But this book, as it goes on, it becomes an ode to Saeed Jones' mother, which is not wrong in any case, but I felt like there should have been some more of a rounding off of Saeed Jones's own thoughts also after he speaks about his mother, but it just ends there. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying it again, don't take it otherwise, but it's just my opinion. Like, there could have been a couple more chapters maybe. I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. My next read of February was Still Me by Jojo Moyes. This is the third in the Me Before You series, and this follows Louisa Clark, who is now in New York working for the Gopniks, and she is an assistant to Mrs. Gopnik, and now she is about to find out that there are a lot more facets to people, and a lot more facets to the divide between the rich and the not rich. And she is about to discover a whole lot of things, and she is about to meet someone over there who is going to turn and tumble her life. I'm not going to talk about any other thing because this is the third in the series. I feel like I've already said too much, but I really enjoyed reading this book because of how many different perspectives it gives. I mean, it's supposed to be a very light contemporary novel, but there's so much more to this than just that. It talks about identity as well, about standing on your own two feet and about carving your own identity in the world, and I love that. I feel that it was a little too long. I mean, chop off 100 more pages and it would have been perfect, it felt like. But even then, I'm not complaining about this book because this was great, and I would definitely recommend this after Me Before You and After You and then this one. See, like that White Tiger talks in circles about classism and the divide between the rich and the poor, this one talks in a very clear manner. You see what's going on, unlike that book. It's very clear. That's what I'm saying. I gave Still Me 4 stars out of 5. The next book that I read in February was Her Perfect Man by Avinash Meshram. I'm supposed to do a book review video for this, which will go up very soon. So I won't talk much about it in this video. Please stay tuned. Please stay subscribed to my channel and put on the bell icon. Tap so that you are notified. And it's coming soon. This is a story of friendship and love and how both of them can be very complicated. I really liked the plot and I really liked how the author has put his thoughts into these sort of grooves and made it make sense. Please go check the book out. It's available on Kindle. I leave the link to that book as well in the description box below. The last book that I finished, but I also did not finish because I consider DNFs as books that I read. So the book that I'm talking about is I Am Pilgrim by Terry Hayes. This was a Drama Queenathon book club pick for January and it got pushed to February, and oh my god, honestly, such a sexist shit show this book is. I read only 57 pages before I was like, excuse me, no, I'm not reading this book. The main character is such a sexist prick, a sexist misogynistic prick. There's a very distinguished officer, okay, who's literally interrogating him, and he calls her Wonder Bra because she has to use all those tactics. No, she'll be showing her cleavage and all that so that she can make him talk. What is wrong with you? I hate. I'm not going to. If I could give that book stars, I would give him lava and make it burn. Anyway, so those were all the books that I read in February 2021. It feels like this video has gone on for way too long, but which of these have you read? Which ones do you find very intriguing? Which ones did you like? Which ones did you not like? And did you like this video? And what books would you recommend to me? Have you watched my March 2021 TBR? Which of these books are you going to buy? Which ones do you say like, okay, no, this is not for me? Do you agree with me on any of these books? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Another quick reminder, if you'd like to buy any of the books mentioned in this video, then please use my Amazon affiliate links that are mentioned in the description box below. They will help me a lot. Please. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.